Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on a walking, keep on a talking, marching up to freedom land.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, 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 oh, glory.
And when you got down to Bloody Sunday, the reason we probably find ourselves here today, Bloody Sunday, in hindsight, was probably the ugliest day of our lives. It was ugly because we had to go there with the understanding that you can't strike back. The only thing you can do is pray. And you have to face cattle prods, billy clubs, horses, and men with rifles
And
with
tear gas.
and tear gas with rifles with fixed bayonets on them. And once they disrupted the march at the foot of the bridge, one of the things they did, they made us walk back through the tear gas, which meant that you could not stand that kind of pressure. I ended up at Good Samaritan Hospital after being kicked in the side by a horse. And when we did get enough strength to get out of there, we were all back at the church. What we learned,
And that's important.
that's real important.
You go, you patch up your wounds, you go back to
You go
battle.
back to battle. I mean, they you did not think, oh man, you're afraid you can't go.
One day, when the glory.
That all people, regardless of the color of their skin, should have a right to participate in the political process that will govern their lives. We are brothers, should be brothers and sisters, regardless of skin color. We didn't have further to go. But looking back from the time that I was a young man up until now, I can truly say that Selma has come a long way. When I look at previous acts of discrimination based on skin color, where you live, who you knew, and now we don't have the same depth of discrimination that we once had, but still we have not arrived at a 100% status of equality of opportunity. But therefore we should always look forward to continue the fight.
When the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, glory.
Well, we had decided that we were going to leave from behind the Berlin Wall.
Yes.
And so we devised a plan where we would leave individually
Yes.
and then meet at a certain spot and march to town.
It marched to town.
And that's the way we got out of, because one or two of us could leave at any time, but just a group of us couldn't leave.
Couldn't leave.
So we devised a plan and met, and then marched down to the courthouse. And as we were approaching the courthouse, L.C. Crockett,
Yes.
who was the chief deputy,
Yeah.
came out and confronted us there on the courthouse steps. You've seen the video, so that was quite an interesting conversation. Since that time, and somebody asked me, said, did you know what you were going to say before? No.
No.
See, one of the things that nonviolence teaches you is to listen to what your opponent is saying.
Right.
Because we were not fighting against people, we were fighting against the system. And he gave me the perfect opening. He said, I asked, do you believe in equal justice? He said, I don't believe in equal anything. No two peas in a pod, no pieces of money. I said, no two pieces of money. You mean to tell me if you have a quarter and I have a quarter and I'm black,
Yeah.
my quarter isn't worth as much as your quarter?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you the interesting thing about that. Years later, when I do speeches all over the country, all over the world, as a matter of fact, kids usually come up after the presentation and put quarters in my hand. And I have often wondered, why didn't I say, if I have $100,
Well, a quarter. A quarter in 1964. A quarter in 1964 was some money.
right? But that was an interesting conversation because people say, "Were you not afraid?" No, we've already lost. Theophilus talked about that. We already lost the sense of fear and. I mean, what was going to happen to me besides kill me?
Yeah.
And I'd already decided I was going to be a martyr anyway. So, I mean, the minute you decided that you were going to be a civil rights activist, you decided to die.